guys. Welcome to episode 71 of Concentrated, the podcast about all of the stuff we find cool and interesting as nerds of color. I am your host, Maria, and I am here with the lovely Eric.
Good day.
He's actually not lovely, but you know, every once in a while. And the actually lovely Manira.
Hi.
So today we are coming in. I know we've been talking about a lot of different stuff lately, but we were all really excited about talking about Mulan, and then we kind of forgot about it. And then it was like, oh, Mulan's coming out. We got to talk about it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be giving you our review of Disney's live action release of Mulan on their Disney Plus streaming platform. But before we do that, it is time for Eric to give us the news. Wah.
Was that the Price is Right thing?
Right.
Well, I got some of that news that's worthy of that theme. Candyman has been delayed in theaters until next year.
No.
Good.
Oh.
No idea of when yet, but we did get a statement from director Nia DaCosta, who I enjoy her statement. Basically, she's saying that a movie like Candyman is a community experience and deserves to be seen in a theater. I agree with that.
She's right.
Yeah. It's no fun, like, unless you set up your home in a spooky atmosphere, but like something about Candyman and the inherent racism and the community, like if you've ever seen the original Candyman, it's all about that apartment complex. So
Green.
Yeah, I agree with her, and I hope that it comes out sooner rather than later. This seems like a movie that if you put out in February of next year or January would fucking kill at the box office, because those are normally dead months. Well, thanks to films like Black Panther, February is now a hot month, and everybody wants to drop stuff in February. So put it out in January, it would kill.
Yeah, unless the COVID kills you first.
Well, yeah.
You go to the theater. I'm just saying. I saw a meme that was very appropriate, that folks are looking for 2021 like COVID expires December 31st, 2020. Like, I don't know. I'm not ready for the theater experience just yet. I know, Eric, we talked last week about your experience at the Alamo, but
no, you're not going to catch me back at the theater every week like I used to be. But like, if there's something big that comes out and I can find a safe way to enjoy it, I'll take the same precautions I took for Tenet. But I'm not doing that every week like I used to. Like there would be some weekends where I go see 2 or 3 movies in a theater. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely not doing that. Also, we got the news that Nia DaCosta has signed on to direct Captain Marvel 2.
Oh.
Yeah. So now it's confirmed.
Yep.
Okay. Yay. I'm excited. I was excited when it was a rumor. And so now that it's confirmed, I'm excited.
I like to wait until the full confirmation. Her full statement, she said via Twitter, "We made Candyman to be seen in theaters, not just for the spectacle, but because the film is about community and stories, how they shape each other, how they shape us. It's about the collective experience of trauma and joy, suffering and triumph, and the stories we tell about it." So I'm with that. I agree with her.
That was a nice statement.
Yeah. We also got the news that Wonder Woman 84 will not be opening October 2nd. They're pushing it back to Christmas at
There's a surprise.
We're never seeing Wonder Woman. 2021.
We're never seeing Wonder Woman. Like, let's stop pretending that anything that wasn't already slated to come out on TV is coming out in 2020.
Nah.
Stop playing with our emotions.
I feel like we may actually get it at Christmas, but even then.
Really?
I think they're going to open it up mostly for the international office. The same thing like Tenet, they just announced has crossed 200 million worldwide, which I think it's only made something like 23 million because next to no one besides myself has gone to see it. Yeah. I still haven't talked to many people that have actually seen it in person. I've talked to a couple people that have seen it in like drive-ins, because some places like the Alamo are doing like drive-ins. Mm-hmm. So if you can get to that, I mean, you're in your own little bubble, which is great, but it's not an IMAX, you know what I mean? And that's just me being a movie snob. But there's things that Christopher Nolan and his sound team do with sound that need to be experienced on a gigantic screen with the biggest possible speakers. So, and again, that's just me being a movie snob. But kind of piggybacking off of that DC news with Wonder Woman. Oh my God, what is this? Sorry. You know when you click on something and ads start playing loud? What the fuck? Get out of here. I was gonna say we got the news that a personal favorite of this podcast, Doom Patrol, has been renewed for a third season.
Yay!
Which honestly, none of us really expected, especially
No.
with them. I kind of expected it with them moving season 2 to HBO Max rather than to DC Universe, because DC Universe is basically dead.
This still doesn't answer my main fucking question, which is what is going on with Titans?
I don't
can't
know.
believe. Here's the thing: we love Doom Patrol. I haven't actually talked to a lot of people outside of my immediate circle, which is you two, right? That have actually watched this show. Like I'm constantly selling people to like check out Doom Patrol, but those same people were watching Titans or are very aware of Titans. So how is it that from what it would seem to me, the more popular of the two shows, we still don't know what's going on with. But with Doom Patrol, they're like, yep, we're going to do it, which is great news. Don't get me wrong. But what the fuck is going on with Titans?
Oh, actually, I have found you some news. Yes, Titans season 3 is confirmed.
Thank you. That's all I
And
wanted
they said
to hear.
they will be adding Red Hood and Barbara Gordon and possibly Scarecrow, and they'll actually visit Gotham City.
Yeah, but you now, and this is conjecture, because you heard that your boy Boyega would want to play Red Hood on the show if they brought it to the show. That's totally not going to happen, but he would like to.
I didn't know that. I feel like he's a big enough star that if he said he wanted to, kind of slum it and go to a TV show, they would let him.
Yeah, somebody was interviewing him about like other superhero roles that he would want to play, and because I guess he's a big Batman guy or whatever. And of course they were throwing like black characters out at him, and he was like, actually, I'd want to fucking play the Red Hood. So
I could take that, and he's age appropriate. Someone who would have been a teenager as Robin and then been killed and brought back to the Lazarus Pit, and he's in his 20s. So yeah, I would love that. His American accent leads a little bit to be desired. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great.
He tries his best.
He does.
He tries his best.
At least he's not making funny faces the way that my bae does when he tries to speak in an American accent.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Tom.
Oh, Tom
Mr.
Holland?
No, Hardy.
I mean, Tom Hardy. Same thing.
Every
small English white
every
man.
time he gives you an American accent, there's this weird twitchy thing that he does with his mouth. I mean, I don't mind it.
I don't know that that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, still want to do naughty things to that mouth, but just say it.
He's played Southerners. He's played, people like his Eddie Brock is apparently from New Jersey. That's what he says when he does his interviews. And yeah, it's kind of New Jersey-ish. I'll give him that.
New Jersey with a side of Boston.
Right, yeah. Right. It is very esque. We'll just say that. It's very Eastern-esque. We'll just leave it at that.
Not everybody can be Lenny James and just be amazing at every accent they do.
He loves a good accent. I let Tom Hardy do whatever he wants to do because he is hot and he's allowed.
I mean, listen, I'm here for it as well. But it would go without saying that you do have to note that you can physically see he's trying to do the accent.
Nope, I like that thing he does with his mouth.
Like
looks like he's having a stroke a bit, but not
really. Like his brain and his mouth are working together.
That's exactly what it looks like. Like it's a little baby stroke.
A little bit, yes. I like it.
And finally, well, I got two finallys. One, they announced the new inclusion requirements for Oscars trying to be nominated for Best Picture starting in 2024. So they got 4 years to work this out. Basically, it's a new series of requirements where your film will have to have met at least one of these requirements in each role to be eligible to be nominated for Best Picture.
Ooh, do we know what the requirements are? Because I want to know more about this.
There's a lot.
This sounds bad.
Do you need 4 years?
I guess they figured give people some time to stop hiring just white people.
That should be something you can do right away. Is it not?
That. I've heard both sides of the argument on this. Like some people are saying this is essentially like what do you call it?
Affirmative
action for movies.
And that's concerning.
Yeah. Guess who is saying that though?
Who?
White people.
Oh, of course.
Should have been an easy guess for you.
Yeah, of course.
Some of the Now let's highlight a couple of them. Lead or significant supporting actors. At least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actor is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group, including Asian, Hispanic, Latinx, Black, African American, Indigenous, Native American, Middle
Hold on, whoa, whoa,
Eastern.
whoa, whoa, whoa. We know all of the groups because we're part of several of them, right?
Yeah.
But here's the question. Each movie has to have that, or at least one of the movies nominated has to have that?
To be considered for nomination, your movie has to have that. So each movie has to have that. And I don't know if they're still doing the 10 thing where you can have up to 10 movies nominated for Best Picture.
Okay. This is going to sound completely counterintuitive coming from me of all people. But if you are telling movie creators that regardless of what your movie is about, what period, regardless of any of that, you must have at least one of the, let's say, 5 main characters represent
your lead actor or significant supporting actor.
Right. So one of 2 characters, because you only get one significant supporting actor and you only get one lead in most movies. So one of them has to be someone from an underrepresented group to even be considered. That is the perfect way to apply affirmative action incorrectly and thus lose all support for affirmative action.
Another one would be the general ensemble cast. At least 30% of all actors in secondary or more minor roles are from at least 2 of the following underrepresented groups: women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ, or people with cognitive or physical disabilities, or who are deaf or hard of hearing.
The second requirement doesn't bother me as much. Like an ensemble crew or an ensemble cast can be 20 different people. And if you can't manage to get 3 people in that 20 that represent, like 3 to 6 people in that 20 that represent one of these groups, there's a problem, right? Like, but then again, what happens with period pieces? So for example, if you are doing
I thought about that. Like, what if I'm doing a period piece about someone in Nazi Germany,
right?
About like, look at the piano, or is it the pianist, the one with Adrian Brody? The piano. Yeah. Is it? Okay, I think we're both on the same page, but both of those movies had a lot of white people.
Right.
Yeah, it's very confusing, and I'm assuming that's why they held off for another 4 years, so that people could kind of wrap their heads around this, bring up any type of any issues. And it's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. It just the 2 rules you've listed to me says that we'll just never have period pieces again, because I think that the place that this is most prevalent of an issue is going to be with period pieces.
We did Mary Queen of Scots, and there was a list of different ethnicities in backgrounds in Mary Queen of Scots. I remember because I loved that movie, and I thought it was very innovative to have all of that. So it can be done.
Well, but here's the thing, though. In Mary Queen of Scots, it would make sense because if I remember correctly, in that period, in that area, like that far north up into Europe, you had the Moors, you had people of different descents that were in that area. If you were to take a similar time frame and do it about something going on in fucking Scandinavia, there weren't, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, the history wouldn't support the idea that you would have had people of color in Norway in like 1422 or some shit. I'm totally making it up. So I think that there will be instances where you can do that, but then there's gonna be somewhere you can't, depending on the story that you're trying to tell.
Maybe you don't need to tell that story.
And then there's that, right? So I don't know. I'm very curious to see how this works out, because
there's other criteria, such as their main storyline or the subject matter. The main storyline, theme, or narrative of the film is centered on an underrepresented group, women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ.
Wait, it has to be centered, or
yes, the main storyline or themes. Yep, I agree with some of the standard B practices, is what they call, which is basically about behind the scenes people. Like your cast and crew has to be made up with a certain number of, and some would also call that affirmative action. But I know bigger stars, like people like Michael B. Jordan, are now demanding that in their contracts. Like, I want the cast to be more diverse.
Right.
I can completely agree with that. I don't know if I agree with it as far as like your movie theme has to be about this.
That's just concerning to me, because my complaint personally, and I'm not speaking for the podcast, I'm only speaking for myself here. My concern personally is that I want the variety to be able to say that if I want to see movies that are about people that look like me with the problems that I have in my life or other problems, that they're being made just the same way that these other movies are being made. What it sounds like to me, and this is just knee-jerk reaction without sitting and reading through all of these changes, I don't think that one has to completely replace the other. I thought the idea was to open the door so that all of these different types of movies and experiences can get the same opportunity. And it sounds like the way that they're writing these rules, it's almost as if you're trying to completely erase one thing to replace it with another. And I'm just not sure that's the right answer.
I don't think the
Yeah.
problem that we ever had was that, oh, well, these movies aren't getting made. These movies are getting made. The problem is that the Academy isn't picking them. They're picking what
Yeah.
they want. So maybe we need a better, diverse Academy than what we have.
No, and I think that that's the better solution, right? Because I don't think that if you make a cisgendered white movie about white people problems, it shouldn't be able to be nominated for an Oscar if it was worth being nominated for an Oscar. But the problem, to Manira's point, is the damn Oscar committee is so fucking white that when you've got a movie about a queer, black or brown person going through queer black or brown person problems that is worthy of an Oscar nomination, they're not nominating it. And so to me, the answer isn't saying, well, you can no longer nominate these all white movies, but to Manira's point, change the fucking makeup of the nomination committee and the voters to ensure that there is enough diversity within the voting that every movie gets a fair shot. I just don't think that you eliminate a whole group of movies. Like I don't know. And again, I'm saying this without having read exactly what they're doing, but just based on what you're describing, it's almost like the gentrification of the fucking woke movement by white people to say, like, this is what we need to do to prove our wokeness. And this isn't the solution, or at least I don't think it's the right solution.
That's kind of how I felt when I initially read these requirements. Like it felt like white guilt placed
Yes.
on a page.
But then it's not the right guilt, because if it was, then you would be giving up your seat for someone else that, because you've been doing it for years and years and years, and maybe retire or die. You're not dying anytime soon, so retire. And then give
Right.
somebody else with a different point of view than yours, because Sally and Steve are still going to be here. You're not going to be here, John. So give someone else a seat at the table rather than you keeping that seat and then putting down these points that they're not going to work. So
Yeah, it doesn't, and that's sad to me, because you know what this is? It is the closest thing that Hollywood could have done to the beginning of the Black Lives movement, the main Black Lives Matter movement that we've seen over the last couple of months, and every fucking corporation jumping on the bandwagon with their hashtagging and their empty marketing post on Instagram and Facebook about how they support Black Lives Matter, yet they weren't actually doing anything to support Black Lives Matter. And that's what
Pretty
this
much.
feels like to me. Like you're saying, look, see, we care, we're woke, we're going to put all of these rules in, and now only Black movies are going to get nominated, or Indian movies or whatever, right? You do all of that, but at the end of the day, the exact same people are in the background making the decisions, and they're just going to keep picking the whitest movie out of the bunch of now muddled brown movies. So nothing, it completely defeats the purpose.
it's pandering.
It
Yeah.
is. It
It feels
is.
like during Gay Pride Month when companies change their label,
Yes.
they
Yep.
put their logo on it, but don't actually do anything for the LGBTQ community.
Right.
That, or during bully day, and nobody actually really talks about the kid that is actually being bullied, and the fact that it's happening, and you're not going to tell the little kid that's bullying the other child, stop being a little shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or maybe talk to the kid who is doing the bullying and find out why he's being such an asshole. And maybe he needs some type of mental help.
Or that he's got bullies at home.
Yeah.
Right. So it
Anyway.
sounds to me like Oscars So White are going to keep being so white under a new veil, and this is
Yeah.
stupid, and they need to revisit
It's Oscar So White with a kente cloth on top.
it. Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the
Yeah.
damn House kneeling with their Black Lives Matter kente cloth scarves. Yeah, that's what this feels like.
Yeah. And then finally, we got the news that Senator Ted Cruz wants to open an investigation into the production of Netflix film Cuties. Because apparently the QAnon movement has taken this movie and between them and then the bad press that Netflix got for their initial poster offerings, where it made the film seem a little sexualized for young women, children, but it's taken on a life of its own with QAnon. And now Ted Cruz is calling for the Justice Department to investigate the film and make sure that there was no actual child pornography taking place during the filming. And that
Is there pornography in the movie?
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list to watch tonight, but everything that I've heard has been people complaining that these children are sexualized because they're doing dance routines and twerking.
Oh, he's a senator from Texas, right?
Yep.
Until you go in all those pageants that are happening in Texas and get the babies and the little kids and the toddlers out of there from being sexualized in front of old men, I don't really want to hear from you.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Starving themselves to fit into their little pageant dresses and learning these stupid talents.
That's where I was going to go with it, because I was very confused by this, because what I read about it outside of the controversy is it's really a coming of age story about like a little preteen girl, and she belongs to a dance group who does these dances. And what was confusing for me when I was hearing like, oh, they're twerking and it's sexualized. Has anybody watched any of the like Dance Mom or Dance Kids shows on like Bravo and all of these things, where you've got the one that I saw, and I can't remember the name of it. You basically had grown-ass Black women yelling at little Black girls for not like twerking hard enough in this dance routine that they were doing because they needed to be the best. And there's white versions of this as well. So like, I didn't understand.
It's preteens in booty shorts. So like typically this got brought to everyone's attention because of the bad ad that Netflix put out. And then QAnon jumping on it because there's this whole save the children movement going on, but it's really not about the actual children. It's about some internet conspiracy theory bullshit. So this film became their target.
But they weren't concerned about this at all of the thousands of elementary, middle school, and high school dance competitions across this country, where little girls are routinely put into very short and inappropriate outfits and are out there doing routines similar to what you see your football and professional football and professional basketball player or cheerleaders doing on halftimes. As a matter of fact, we routinely have halftime performances by the junior version of whatever cheerleading squad, where they're still doing the same types of sexy fucking dances that the grown women were doing. So we're gonna jump on this movie, but we're not gonna talk about that at all. Oh, okay.
Nope. But yeah, so Ted Cruz is looking for the film to be investigated and blah blah blah. Clearly, I doubt he's probably even seen the fucking movie. Not to mention he's probably never seen a French coming of age tale, because this is nothing new. Tell him to go watch some fucking French cinema.
But that's so un-American. He can't do that.
Oh, I forgot.
What will his constituency think? Right. Well,
dick.
This was not fun news today. You got anything else to shit up this storm before we move on?
Nope, got nothing good. Stranger Things star Caleb McCalla is in a movie with Idris Elba where they play cowboys in urban Philadelphia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Toronto International Film Festival online this year started this weekend. Apparently that film's getting pretty good praise. And Regina King's film.
Yes, I actually want to see that. Night in Miami or Last Night in Miami, something like that.
It's getting really good praise.
Yeah.
So I am upset that I didn't know that this year I could have registered and seen the movies, and there was a cutoff date of like.
Why would you have been able to register and see the movies? Because of this podcast?
Because it's all online.
Oh.
No, it's all online. the same thing like
I thought we were finally
Fantastic
important.
Fest. No, Fantastic Fest this year is going to be all online, and I want to register to be able to watch some of the new like really weird, crazy sci-fi and horror movies. So this year I have the chance, so I'm going to do that. So I can
we'll
see
make
those
sure you
movies.
get it done. Get it registered,
Yeah,
sir.
I will. Shut up.
All right. Well, at least that was.
she was just reminding you
some
because
good
you
news.
forgot about the other one and you
Right?
couldn't watch
I didn't know
so.
until like a week before, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize I could this year.
Okay, well, I don't
without
want
having to
see
physically
any.
travel to Toronto.
I don't want to see
you.
any of the angriness when you forget to register and then you can't watch any of the movies that you want to watch.
Even though we sat here and we were like, "Hey,
Right.
Eric, don't forget to do this
did
thing."
Make sure that you knew. So.
You didn't do that. Also, we got the last, the little bit of news, and this depends on how you feel about the show, but they announced that The Walking Dead will be coming to an end in 2022. Season
2022, another fuck.
No, season 11 will be their last season. Like they put season 10 on hold. They will begin starting season. Well, they're going to finish season 10, which got put on hold later this year, and then season 11, which is their last, will start next year.
And then there's a Carol and Daryl spinoff,
right? Like I don't understand.
Need that.
There's so much Walking Dead. I'm not even interested.
It just dawned on me that their names rhyme.
Dawned on me that like who is checking for the Carol and Daryl ship? Who?
I'm maybe 2 or 3 seasons behind. Did they finally like get together as a couple?
No, they aren't together as a couple. Carol has divorced the king, and Daryl is dating a lovely lady who is down in a shaft who is deaf. They were making a couple things happen. It was actually becoming to be a thing, and now it's Daryl and Carol show. Which I'm like, no, I never.
But they also have the movie later on.
And that's what I'm excited for. But I never wanted Carol and Daryl, period. I enjoy Daryl by himself, growing and figuring out why he is a bit of a mute and looks like he's stunted sexually. I enjoyed the mini evolutions of Carol. Together, no thank you. No thank you.
Yeah, no, I was down with them as like best buds in the apocalypse and like fighting zombies and
as a mother's son, like I enjoyed that he looked like he needed a mother because his father was shit and may have been very abusive sexually and mentally, and his brother was shit. And she looked like a good mom and looked like she spared Sophia from abuse. I thought that they would be good as family.
All this is so foreign to me because there's too many fucking seasons of The Walking Dead and spinoff shows. Sorry, not interested.
Also, she's only like 3 years older than him. Like, I don't know. I don't get the whole mom thing, but I don't know. He needed
mom because she was a mother.
Yeah, he needed a supporting person.
She has a pretty good like maternal sense about her.
Yeah, she's got good mom vibes.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. There's some happy news.
I mean, is it happy?
No, it wasn't, but deal with it. You want me to put the glasses on?
No, deal with it filter. All right. Well, as we said, guys, today we're going to get into the apparently controversial, but I'm not sure really why, Mulan. Controversies that we know about. The lead actress, I want to make sure that I am pronouncing her name properly.
I apologize in advance. I'm going to butcher so many people's names.
I believe
that's just pure my own American ignorance.
I believe it's Yifei Liu, I think. And if I pronounced that wrong, I apologize. But she apparently has been pro-China in the Hong Kong protest and showing support for the police. I thought that was going to like the only controversy, but apparently there's a whole bigger controversy because Disney in the credits, and I know Eric had mentioned this, had thanked the Xinjiang province for, I guess, allowing them to film there. And apparently they actually have mass internment camps for some of the ethnic Muslims there, which is not a good look for Disney.
Yeah, the Uyghur Muslims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is not a good look for Disney. So this is causing some issues, but there have also been some just blackouts in China. Plus, but like there have been blackouts from the media about reporting on it, but apparently the actual, I guess the communist like mouthpiece in China, the Global Times, published an op-ed that was titled Attack on Mulan, Tragedy for American Society. And it's called The Backlash Over the Xinjiang Province, another manifestation of the extreme ideologies regarding China among U.S. public opinion. And then they added that the truth-seeking spirit of American public opinion has short-circuited on the Xinjiang-related issues and the understanding of China. As a socialist country, China attaches great importance to people's livelihood and has been providing preferential treatment to ethnic minorities for a long time. How can the country possibly carry out the so-called vicious crackdown on a specific ethnic group that Washington portrays? Now, even a film company has to experience scrutiny thanks to the above mentioned labeling. This is depravity. So clearly, the Chinese government is at odds with Senator Josh Hawley, and I think your boy Marco Rubio was also kind of in on this, like slamming Disney and China
Oh
behind
boy.
this movie. So there's just like a whole lot of extra drama going on that makes very little sense to me.
It's a lot of behind the scenes drama, but I'm sure they're, based on just how they wanted to open this in China, they probably did some editing to story stuff just to make it fit so they didn't offend anyone in China.
They did
But
cut
also,
a love scene.
Yeah.
And listen, we can talk about that. I'm super happy that there were no love scenes, personally.
Same.
I thought that was one of the strengths of the movie. So outside of this controversy, it's clearly not making the money yet that they were hoping it would make with their launch in China. I haven't seen any Disney Plus numbers yet. So there's a lot going on around this film. And we can talk more about it, but I really want to talk about the film itself because, you know, it seems like it's generally well received. But I've been seeing a lot of hate, and I don't get it because I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I purposely avoided reviews because everything that I'd seen just from headlines was like either really enjoyed it or they thought it was terrible. And I was like, all right, well, I don't want to go into the movie with that already in my head and I'm going to look for flaws. I'm just going to watch it and see what I think. And I actually enjoyed it. I you know, it is very reminiscent of like a lot of other Chinese films, but I guess one of the controversies being that a lot of Chinese filmmakers were not behind this, but that didn't make it any less enjoyable.
Here's the question. Were Chinese filmmakers not behind it because they weren't included behind the lens? Like, did they feel like, you know, there was a white production crew basically like just co-opting their style? Because I mean, I get it. It does. If you didn't know that it was an entirely white production team, so to speak, and the director and everybody else, and you watch this film, it very much has like that, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon feel, and like all of these, like Ip Man and all of these great, you know, movies that have come from China that we love. So was that what the problem was, or?
I don't know. I know it. Yeah, it's very spirited in like wuxia films. Yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is probably the most well known one. But if you look at other ones like, you know, Curse of the Golden Flower and you know, just movies of the like where they have this kind of fantasy element to them, but they also have martial arts. I think that was represented pretty well. I do feel like this could have been done by an Asian director. I know Nikki Caro, who directed it, also did like The Wave Rider, and she did like a couple episodes of Anne with an E. She's from New Zealand, so she's done a lot of white movies. To put it kind of not so controversially.
But I think that also accounts for, as a filmmaker from New Zealand, all of the beautiful shots. There was so many like,
yeah, it's a really pretty movie.
It's pretty, and like it had the little bit of grittiness that it needed to have where it needed to have it. But generally, all of the set layouts were beautiful. The natural elements were, you know, really nicely shot. So it doesn't surprise me, because that's kind of something that you get a lot of with filmmakers from New Zealand, because fucking New Zealand's gorgeous and they love making movies in their own country, and it's amazing.
Yes, it's the Shire.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So I get that, but like outside of that, what are the Chinese filmmakers complaining about?
No, that's my own complaint.
Okay,
I would have liked to see a Chinese filmmaker be the director.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a reason that they couldn't be.
And I know a lot of the movie was shot in New Zealand and a little bit of China as well. So
yeah, I didn't I know there were some issues with some of the set pieces because of the timing, that I know people are complaining about online. Um, I haven't seen, but this is the thing. I feel like everything that I'm hearing complaints about doesn't actually have to do with the movie as you watch it. It has to do
yeah,
with
it's
lots of
mostly
other
behind the scenes stuff.
things.
I watched it when it first hit, and then like my sister came and she asked me a couple of days ago, did you watch Mulan? And I said, of course. And she said, well, what did you think? And she was kind of like hesitant. And I said, oh, I loved it. Why? And she said, well, I have like a couple of friends that didn't really like it because they changed some of the beats in the movie. And I said, okay, well, what beats? And she was like, well, they said that they were missing some of the impact when, you know, she goes and she cuts her hair and she takes her
Yeah, I was
father's
surprised
armor
because
and
I
stuff like
feel like
that.
they had that in the trailer, her cutting her hair, but she didn't actually do it.
But I don't feel like she needed
I
to.
didn't think she needed it. I felt like her, I felt like the way that they addressed her actually speaking up and admitting that she was a woman and that whole journey was way more impactful than her cutting her hair in the cartoon.
I think
And even
also
the way
in
that
the
she left was more
yeah.
impactful to me.
Well, the
Her speaking
cartoon
to her
you
father. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh
Go
no
ahead.
no I was gonna say with the cartoon you also have the ability to put that over a musical number
Mhm.
where you don't have musical numbers in this version.
Well, that's not true. Every part that had a musical number in the animated, they used
played
the
it.
instrumental.
Well, yeah, you
Yep.
have the score playing of it.
So if
but
you love Mulan and you know what you're listening to, you
knew
know the musical
it was
cues.
there. And
that was
literally
one of my big issues to begin at the beginning. Like when I started the movie, I was like, "This is way too serious. A musical number would really like brighten up the tone."
They had
But
reflections playing in the beginning.
yeah, I know they had a Christina Aguilera version of it.
No, B. No, B. They had reflections, the instrumental playing in
Yep.
the very beginning.
Yep.
I know, but it's not the same thing as like a song
No,
and dance
bitch.
number.
It is the same. Don't do
No.
that. Because
Okay.
I started crying as soon as I heard it. And I
don't
knew I
have
was
the
going to be
emotional
all right.
connection to Mulan. Most people
Then
do.
you shouldn't be talking.
No.
Manira.
What I'm saying is when you look
Stop
when
it.
you
That's
look
not
at
acceptable.
this, and then you look at something like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, where they actually were able to weave in the musical numbers into the actual story along with dance, it doesn't have the same hit. But it's not a bad thing. I actually enjoy.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I agree 100% with what you're saying, that it doesn't have the same hit, but I think that's why I like this the best of all the live action films. And it was
I wouldn't
funny
say all
because
that.
I did.
It's good.
I actually liked this one better for thinking about the cartoon and then looking at what they did with the live action. I think it is the best one. And here's why.
I like it better than the cartoon, but at the same time, I didn't like the cartoon.
No, see, I like the cartoon. So I guess that gives me a little bit of a different vantage point, right? But here's the thing. With Beauty and the Beast, it was damn near shot for shot the cartoon. And it was done very well. Mm-hmm. You know, and they made a couple of tweaks and it was nice, right? But the message that you got in the live action was always the same message you were supposed to get in the cartoon. My watch doesn't understand right now. So I know it's not for you, Siri. Aladdin, well, I just hated the live action, and we've already talked about that on a previous episode. What I loved about Mulan was that even in watching the cartoon, I always felt like what was going on was made comedic, and it shouldn't have been made as comedic in the cartoon as it was. I felt like adding Eddie Murphy's dragon was completely unnecessary. And I know there are people that are very upset about it. It was stupid in the fucking cartoon, and I would have been very angry if they did it in the movie. And they in the cartoon. Like, you are talking about, number one, a legend that is very meaningful to a culture. And the reason that this legend is meaningful to this culture is because of the ties to honor and loyalty and, you know, family and all of these things, not a fucking talking dragon. So I felt like they definitely downplayed and almost infantized the Legend of Mulan when they did the cartoon. Still enjoyed it, right? And it was nice to have another brown princess, because that's how we treat pretty much all of the female characters. Watching the movie, from the opening scene, I was like, this is what I always wanted in Mulan. Because yes, or you should feel something. Like, I felt emotions. There were a couple of times that I actually teared up, you know, towards the end of the movie, watching the live action version, because I felt that they gave in the live action kind of the reference to the legend that you should have given it in the cartoon. Whereas, you know, with Beauty and the Beast and some of these other ones, they're just like made up fairy tales. They don't actually have an impact in anybody's culture. Whereas the Ballad of Mulan is one of the most told legends in Chinese culture that has been changed and adapted like a ton of times throughout history. So I was for the seriousness of it. It made me, you know, I had a couple chuckles in there, which is great, but I would have been really disappointed if it would have been as hokey as the cartoon.
Yeah, no, I got everything I needed from it.
Everything.
I knew I would.
Everything.
From the trailer, I was hooked. So, and from the trailer, they played the instrumental, and so I pretty much knew they were going to keep the music. It's just not the way that everybody wanted it to. I loved it because I love the music. So.
Yeah, I did hear some complaints from folks that they didn't like the fact that in the cartoon, you know, she worked hard to be a good warrior, whereas in the movie, well, you know, she had to work hard a little bit, but it's really because she just had a lot of chi. And I'm just like,
they can shut up, because they had a whole ass training montage that was great. It was one of my favorite
right,
parts of the movie.
right.
I was
And
like,
she
you
was
literally
working
see
her
them all
ass
being
off.
terrible, and then they start getting good over time.
Right. She didn't just
you
start.
put a training montage.
Yeah. So I don't know. So far, the arguments that I've heard against this film have just fallen flat for me.
Did they want her to be like a wimpy girl?
Yes.
Or did they want her to be strong and bring honor to her family and leave and bring honor to her family? Like, what did they want? That's what I want to know. Because I got everything that I needed, from little Mulan playing in the garden with her father to...
Oh my gosh. I loved the addition of seeing her as a child.
Yes.
I loved it. Loved it
Yeah,
so
plus
much.
they went ahead and put in that point that, like, she didn't just learn kung fu overnight. Like, she's been practicing this for several years.
Yeah.
She didn't just like flick on beast mode and was like, I'm gonna stop all of everybody bad.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed her interactions with the witch and their bonding.
Yes.
I loved that. That made me very sad.
I did
loved
like her
Ming-Na
character
just showing up out of nowhere, because I started to cry. I was like, look,
that is the only
live-action
time that I got a
Mulan
little
and regular
teary-eyed.
Mulan.
Yeah.
Like, for no reason other to say, hey, I was Mulan first. I'm like,
Right.
you were.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, I got 3 lines in this motherfucker, but you're still gonna remember it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was so pretty. And going back to her and the witch, I really liked that they gave her an opportunity to redeem herself in the end.
Did they though?
You don't think that they did?
Mean?
No, her sacrificing herself was not the redemption that I think that character deserved.
Okay, I see. She could have gotten more.
Yeah, like we had these 2 great scenes with the 2 characters together talking to each other, and then out of all that, she's like, "Oh, well, you're better than me. I'm gonna die for you." Like, she could have lived, and like they both could have fought Khan.
I don't know that she said you're better than me. I think she said you were able to do what I wasn't able to do, which is live in my truth. Like, I had to be a witch when I wanted to be a warrior.
Like, not so much she could have tried, but like the way they wrote it off was like, oh, well, I'm beyond saving, so, you know, I'm gonna be bad and then I'll sacrifice myself for you. I was like, you could redeem this character and give this character a little bit more agency than just killing her off, you know, 5 minutes before the end of the movie. I was not a fan of that, because I really liked the character over time.
Yeah, she was kind of badass. Just gonna put that out there. She's pretty badass, I think. But
I do like that she's one of the many actors in this movie that has a really big following in China, for movies like Curse of the Golden Flower and what's another one she was in?
Memoir of a Geisha.
Yes, and 2046 and like all these amazing movies. I did nerd out, and I don't know if you guys get the same reference. The matchmaker was played by Cheng Pei Pei
Mm-hmm.
from Come Dance with Me. I mean, Come Drink with Me,
Mm-hmm.
and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yep.
And I was like, what? Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
And
I
she was
saw her.
also
I was
very
like, oh
funny.
my gosh. She was, listen, when she faded when Mulan came back, I just bust out laughing. I was just like, oh my goodness. Yeah,
And then of course Donnie Yen, who was always a win.
Donnie Yen can have a whole ass episode because he's fucking Donnie Yen. He was badass from the very beginning all the way to the end. How can you not love him? And Jason Scott Lee as
Is still
Lord
Bay,
Han?
has always been Bay, will ever always be Bay. Little
Yeah, I
Manera
was
was
like,
like,
damn.
yes,
I was
you
like,
can
Jason Scott
still
Lee still
get
cut.
it. Get
Good
it.
for you,
get it,
Jason
get it,
Scott
get it.
Lee.
Get it.
He was a fantastic villain.
I loved
Fantastic.
it. Yeah.
And yeah, so like all the way through, I thought that the casting was great.
I'm glad. That's the only thing I'm glad that they added the witch character, because like while he's great in the performance, his villain is a little one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm,
So you put them two together, they kind of play off of each other. Because I did like that she was like, well, I'm not going to be your slave, so I'm going to set you up anyway.
mm-hmm.
Well, we always had a witch. They just never gave that eagle in the original anything to do, really.
And
Right, she was just the eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Less of a technical thing and more of a like, why would you have to do that? Like when we first see her and she transforms into the soldier and then she turns into herself and then turns into the witch, why wouldn't you just go from the soldier to the eagle? It's just me, and I was like,
Because
I mean,
cool,
I get it.
Don't do that.
I get it. That's you. You're
Right, because she's got all the
responsible.
fucking powers and she wants you to see them.
Let her
Get,
do it.
Nobody
get
was looking.
into it. Get into it, all
Get
right?
into it.
It just seems like a waste of time. Like you could have gone, soldier, boom, eagle, I'm out. Then you go
Well-
soldier, witch, eagle, boom, I'm out.
Well, I mean, but let's also talk about that. I really liked that they got away from what the first movie did and just being like the Mongols are attacking and they said we're being attacked from the north.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that they cleaned that up. But I also was glad that when you looked at the hordes, they were representative of Asia. They were not all Mongolian. You had individuals who looked like they could have been from like the Pakistan, India regions of Asia. There was a diversity in that group, and I really thought that that was a nice touch because, well, back in the day, that's pretty much what would happen. Like all of these other areas would attack and try to, get in. So I like that they kind of updated that a little bit.
You can also excuse the fact away that, yes, Mulan is great, but at the same time, she is basically defending imperialism.
There was that.
I mean, yes.
But listen.
Oh, you saved the emperor. Great. The emperor's still going to do terrible things to people.
No.
He was that for another day.
You do not come for Jet Li. All right. He is a kind and gentle emperor, and he was going to protect and save his people. And also, I think one of my favorite things about this remake was that unlike the original, where the emperor was just an old ass dude, this emperor was about that work.
He was like, I don't need this squad with me.
Right.
Bitch, I'll fight all of you.
Right. Let's go. Like,
I was a little worried at first because like they really aged him up. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, he's still a badass. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was really nice. Like a nice little camera trick. Because obviously, we all knew it was going to be Jet Li, but they made him so old. You were not expecting that he was going to do anything. Then like pull a Gordon Liu, right? Just sit there and be the old wise guy and not say anything. And then he showed he still had them hands and them feet. Don't come for him. And I thought it was perfect. So, what other, because there were a couple of other castings that I really enjoyed in this movie. I'm wondering if you guys had anybody else that you felt like really stuck out for you.
I forget the gentleman's name that plays her dad. I
Zima.
love him in everything.
Yeah, Zima. He is amazing.
Yeah.
That's the main one for me. He brought a dimension to her father's character that legitimately made you care about why she left.
Him trying to like walk up and accept the scroll and fall.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's like, you guys are being dicks now.
Like they stopped her from going and embarrassing the family even more, because in the cartoon, like she runs up there as you do and like stops him and says, no, I'll take, like, Dad, you can't go, all that other stuff. I always thought that was a little much, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Or a little westernized.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Well,
I
fun fact: a lot of the Mulan cartoon was made by white people,
yeah,
Well,
I
you don't have to whisper
duh,
it. It's
right.
not a
and
secret.
I think
a lot of the voices were also white people.
I think
Well,
we all
that I
know
know.
that.
Yeah, we got that.
I thought that
Representation matters.
Ooh, okay. All right.
this
You
is
can
where
keep that.
we need our own little Desus and Mero rainbow right there. Um, but I think that that's a really really good point, Manira, because throughout in the interactions, I think that as Americans, as Westerners, we have this view of the Chinese family as one that is cold, one that it is all about honor, and doing what your parents want. And we act as if there is not love in these families. And I really appreciated that even with the mom and the mom's concerns, like they came from a good place, but the relationship with the dad was one that was incredibly loving but
Mm.
also incredibly strict because he had no problem calling her out and telling her she needs to stay in her fucking place.
Mhm.
And even when she left and he was praying to the ancestors, he was praying to the ancestors because he made mistakes.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
never, oh, my stupid daughter. It was, I
No,
gave her too much leeway. Like
he
it
was
was
stern because he knew that the world wasn't meant for women at that point. Even
right.
though
Mhm.
he just wanted her to have the same opportunities, but the world didn't want her to have the same opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I thought that them really adding more depth to his character and allowing us to see that relationship, as somebody who did like the cartoon, made it incredibly more touching to me. But let's say I'd never seen the cartoon, and let's say I never had been exposed to Chinese American families or things that sort, it would have given me a very different view of how a Chinese family, like how the dynamics work based on what I know of Western media. So
Mhm.
I think like for all of the shit you might want to give them and all the holes you could find in the screenplay and everything else, to me, I thought that that was one thing that should really be highlighted and celebrated because we have some very biased views and ideas of what it means to be a Chinese American woman or a Chinese American man, and like the whole tiger mom thing, and how we've kind of appropriated that term as a culture and bastardized it and made it something completely different than what it actually is. I don't know. That was like one of the points that I definitely felt like I got really emotional over. And I think it was that because, of course, he loves his daughter. Of course, he wants what's best for her. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, I thought it was an excellent, excellent performance by him there.
I hated cricket.
Oh,
What?
stop!
I hated
He's
him.
one of the originals that they kept. They just turned him into a
A
boy.
human being, right?
Yeah.
Why did you hate him? Jung Yu was great.
I feel like out of that crew, one of them should have died. Didn't have to be cricket, but I felt like someone should have died. It would have
Okay,
given a
it's
little bit
still
more
a
emotional
Disney
depth to the
movie.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like all of them except for her clearly love interest should have died. Or I'm with
Oh,
you.
you're talking about Chen Hong Yu?
I feel like maybe they should have all died as well.
Yeah, or at least like when they panned over to him and he was dead, I was like, okay, this makes it a little bit more emotional. It didn't have to be cricket. It just helped that I hate cricket. So if he's dead, I'm cool with that. It
You're the
works.
fucking worst.
Why
But then
do
he
you
popped
but
up and
why
I
do
was
you
like,
hate cricket?
Why did you hate cricket? He was like the first one to even be nice to Mulan in the damn camp. Well, how can you hate him?
I was just tired of the soft boy trope of oh, I'm gonna be a warrior. They're gonna make a man out of me. And I was like, I'm done with that. Like,
I
and
mean,
like I
but they
said,
did make a man out of him.
him, I didn't like. I did like that he was a little badass when he threw the arrows behind his back and hit that double shot. I was like,
That was pretty badass.
go ahead, cricket. And then I was expecting him to die after that. So I was like, all right, you did something badass.
I think
now
you
die.
got beef with
Good for
cricket
you.
for no real reason. Cricket
No, I
was a
just didn't.
delightful
He
character.
was. All of her brethren were a delightful character.
Yes,
Mhm.
and I feel like one of them dying would have made it a little bit more emotional.
I mean, you're not wrong because I had said that too. I thought that all of them were gonna die. When she closed the door, I was like, oh, so
Yeah,
there
I
is no
figured
love
at least one
interest.
was gonna
That's
die.
cool too. I like that. And
Yeah.
then all of them are still alive, and I was like, I mean, that's cool too. I didn't mind them. I enjoyed them. So, and I enjoyed that cricket was still alive because he's
Meh.
Cricket.
I felt like it was an unfortunate. Like they should have just cut that thing where everybody thought he was dead. Just cut that altogether.
And just let him bounce up and them just be chilling.
Yeah, like let's not all look over at Cricket and his eyes are open and he's like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, no, you were dead. I feel like that might have been a cut later. Like maybe Cricket did die, and then they were like, well, this is too much of a bummer. Let's bring him back.
Because everyone loves Cricket, except for that one weird guy that doesn't like him.
That's me.
Eric.
All right. Well, I'll tell you who I'm glad didn't die.
Cricket.
Yes, of course, Cricket. But also the love interest, Chen Hong Hyu.
The age-appropriate love interest?
Yes, it was nice that he was age appropriate, but I'm about to say some non-age appropriate shit. Yosun An is fucking hot, okay?
He is very pretty.
He is pretty. And Mulan was the ultimate G because she was like, all right, holla, I'll see you later. Nah, bruh, you ain't getting in this yet.
I was like, Mulan, he's been giving you the eyes. I don't know if he knows that you are a girl, but he's giving you them eyes.
He was giving her the eyes when he thought her was a him. Like, so I think that maybe he sort of knew.
Yeah.
And just didn't want to blow her cover.
Well,
or he liked what he saw. Like he was like,
on
yeah.
her binder.
Yeah. I think he was like, yeah, no, this is the type of girl that I want. There are girls like this out here that can fight with me in these streets.
Like, what? You just gotta let them talk?
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He was also in the Mortal Engines. He was pretty good in that.
Did you see that?
I did not watch the
theater.
Mortal Engines. I really wanted to see it, and then Eric was like, he started and I was like, all right, never mind.
It's good enough. Doesn't need
Robert Sheehan's in that, right?
Yeah, and well, the problem with him being in that movie is like he's very toned down. Like he's not the Robert Sheehan that we're used to. Like he's not
Nathan
Umbrella Academy Robert Sheehan, or even Misfits Robert Sheehan.
Yeah.
Like he plays like a very uptight character, like from the higher ups.
And is it good? It's not good.
It's
jarring.
Okay. It is not necessary as a film, and they open it up as if it's going to be more films. But like, I went into it and it's one of those things where like it's a Peter Jackson movie that Peter Jackson didn't need to make, even though he's not even the director. He's like a producer, but like it has the scope of a Peter Jackson movie. And I think, yeah, he's a producer, but like there are cool things in the world, but I didn't need a whole 2.5 hour movie about it.
So read the book.
If you want to read the book, or if you got 2.5 hours, like they're not going to make a sequel.
Did you
just
read
want
the
to see?
book?
No, I didn't know anything about it. I just went into the theater one day because I had nothing better to watch. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Okay. Not super cool, but it's kind of cool.
Okay. I'll read the book.
Go for
Whatever.
it.
Yeah, no, I thought that all of the casting for her little crew was spot on. I found it interesting because I thought that Ling in the original was the big guy, and so them having Jimmy Wong do the role, who is not a big guy, was a bit of a difference, but he's fucking adorable, so I was fine with that. Like I'm just happy that at the end of the day there was just lots of really, really yummy eye candy on the screen, and
everyone was very pretty.
There were no.
Oh shit! I did not realize that was Jimmy Wong.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yep, that was Jimmy Wong.
He's great on Dimension 404. If you've ever watched it, he used to be like a YouTube star. He's really like that's where I know him from. So when I see him pop up in movies, like he was in John Dies at the End, it's always a little weird to see him in a big screen film.
Wait, there's a John Dies in the End movie?
It is. It is directed by the director of the original Phantasm. It's really good.
Really? Because I'm literally just like, I'm gonna start John Dies at the End. Didn't even realize there was
the movie is great, and they only get to about a third of what's in the book because some things are just not filmable. And I love that they filmed what they could, because without a much bigger budget, because it was basically an indie film. It's very weird. I recommend if you read the book, then watch the movie, because it's a really good movie.
Okay, so don't do it the other way around. Don't watch the movie and then read the book.
No, because like when you read the book, you'll get the full story and you'll get all the weirdness, because the movie, the book jumps around in time a lot.
I see, but isn't the movie
kind of
part of a trilogy? Because there's 2 more John Dies at the End. I mean, I bought them all. I just haven't read them yet.
Yeah, but like you can watch the movie. I don't think they're going to make another one because, like I said, it was very indie. But like you can watch the movie and be completely satisfied with that story, because it ends basically the same way that the book does.
Got it.
Because the books are not direct sequels. They are sequels, but like they're like the continued adventures of John and Dave.
Got it. All right. So I think we talked a lot about what we liked. Was there anything that you guys really didn't like about this movie?
Cricket.
Stop
Don't
it.
do that.
Cricket was fucking adorable, and you're just being a hater right now.
I can be what I want.
Cricket did nothing to deserve this hate.
Literally nothing.
Literally nothing. I'd say I would have liked a little bit of a battle.
He almost got Hong Kyu killed because he couldn't run fast enough.
This is true. I would have liked a little bit of a more of a battle between Borakan and the Emperor. Because, like, remember, after the Emperor, like, whooped his boys' asses, like, it was just arrows,
Yeah, I
and
was
now we're
hoping
going to
for more
tie
than
you
that.
up. And I'm just like, but that's still Jet Li, yo. Like, y'all can't just let
I'm-
him go a little bit more?
I'm wondering if that's more like they wanted to leave like his fight with Mulan open, or if that's
Yeah.
more like Jet Li, like, because I know he had issues with the movie to begin with. He had originally turned down the role, but apparently his kids were like, hey, this is a big thing for Chinese culture, you should be in the movie, because he apparently they weren't trying to pay him enough. So I don't know if maybe he was like, well, you're
Jet
getting out of
Li?
me what you want to get. Yeah,
You pay that man what he gets.
basically. You're
Right.
Disney, you pay Jet Li
Because
what
it's
he
fucking
wants.
Jet Li. Like, what are you
Right.
doing? So I had that. There was another one. Oh, I actually, and listen, I know it wasn't supposed to be about Donnie Yen. It was about Mulan, and that's
Everything's about
great.
Donnie Yen. You put Donnie Yen in your movie,
But
it's about fucking Donnie
right,
Yen.
but we couldn't get a little bit more of him also in that battle scene. For real, or maybe just a little bit more sword training, because he's a badass with a sword. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, just a
I do like when
little
they
bit.
give him a
Love's
chance
right
to-
over here. Like my name on the marquee.
Yeah,
but I guess.
right. I'm right here. I mean, but yeah,
I do like when they give him a chance to like stretch his acting legs a little bit, because he is a
Yeah.
really good actor. Like, he's in Rogue One a lot, but he only has like one or two action scenes in Rogue One, and he's
He
just a really
made
good
me
actor.
Cry.
And
Oh
even
my
in this
gosh.
movie, I was like, damn, he's a good actor. When he at the end when he goes and presents her with the sword.
Yeah.
And,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
I was
was like,
tears.
go ahead, Donnie Yen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I don't like, I thought the action sequences
You go,
were
Klingo
very
Co.
pretty. I don't shut up, Eric. I don't think that I felt like we got enough action. I don't think that they overdid it. I think that there was a
Yeah,
pretty
no,
good
and the
balance.
fight choreography was really good. Like,
Mhm.
there's a mixture of like practical and wire work. I thought that was really good. And I know the young lady who plays Mulan, I'm never going to try to pronounce her name because I'm going to say it wrong.
Yifulu.
She was also in like
Or
Yifei.
Yifei.
Right, I was gonna
Yifei.
you already fucked it up.
Right.
I
She's
said
so
you-
pleased with herself.
No,
Did
no,
you
no,
see
no,
her?
no, no. Yifei Lu. Sorry.
She was also in the Forbidden Kingdom with Jet Li and Jackie Chan. So she has some background.
Which I
so
still haven't watched.
don't. It's terrible.
Really? Oh.
Outside of that one fight scene between Jet Li and Jackie Chan, the movie is awful.
So just fast forward and watch that scene and then cut it off. Got it.
Or just go to YouTube and like Google Jet Li versus Jackie Chan Forbidden Kingdom. Boom. Because it's terrible. It's whitewashing of Asian culture. Because of course they throw in a little white kid and he's got to be the direct link. He's supposed to be the Mary Sue of the story. It's terrible. Just YouTube that fight.
Got it. All right. Well, do you think, last question, do y'all think it was worth the $30?
I don't know.
I think ooh.
No, go ahead.
I think that the fact that Disney told you it was going to be $30 and then turn around and said, but then you could get it for in December for free is one of the reasons why it might be not doing very well here. I do think that.
Pretty good sense, yeah.
I don't know what their reasoning was for telling people spend that $30. Oh wait, but in December, like you can see it for free.
Right, because we're talking 3 months, not a whole year.
Right. Yeah.
If you had said, hey, you can get it for free in December of 2021, folks would have spent that money.
Right.
3 months when I'm already on quarantine any fucking way,
Right.
I can wait that out.
I am interested to see if Disney releases numbers for like how much it made just on streaming, because I know in China they said they only made like 23 million opening weekend, which was kind of a big disappointment for China. But I am interested to see if this kind of does like what Trolls 2 did, where like people were buying it because they were like, oh, okay, I need something for my kids to watch, and spending $25 on Troll 2 is a lot cheaper than spending $12 a head plus popcorn plus gas plus snacks and drinks for all my kids.
I peeked into one of the, which I find is funny. Like Disney has now decided to advertise for it, even though before it was few and far between. Now it's smacking my face anytime. I peeked into one of their comment sections, and one lady was like, "Thank you, I really appreciate like you guys putting it on Disney Plus because a mom of 6, it's real expensive to take my children, and I wanted my children to experience something that I really watched. I had a great time. They had a great time. Thank you." And then right under that was, "I'll wait until December. Thanks."
I've heard a lot of people being like, yeah, I'll wait until December.
I don't understand what their reasoning was. You didn't do any of that for any of these other movies. Like I was super excited for Lady and the Tramp when I got Disney Plus. Lady and the Tramp, great movie. I don't know why you would shoot yourself in the foot like that, advertising wise.
I think they got to remind people that it's coming to Disney Plus because everybody still had it in their head that, eventually it'll be in theaters.
Yeah, but then don't tell them that they can get it in December for free.
Yeah, I think that's the other big thing, because people were assuming that, oh, well, what's the point of paying $6.99 a month for Disney Plus? Or, right now, a lot of people who signed up for it originally are now about to renew.
Yeah.
Which
Also,
they could have put this out and not told anybody about it, because people are still going to be signing up for Disney Plus because The Mandalorian is back next month.
Yup.
I don't know that I would have said anything. I don't know that I would have put this behind a paywall. I feel like I would have tried it with Hamilton. Hamilton would have been behind a paywall, and then this would have been behind a paywall.
Because white people love Hamilton.
Right. That's how I would have done it. I wouldn't have made this my first thing to put behind a paywall. And I don't think that they thought it was smart either, because a week after saying it, or maybe 2 weeks, I'm giving them a little bit of carte blanche, they then turn around and said, but you can also get it in December for free, so don't worry. You're sending mixed messages, and none of it's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's the hard thing, because part of you is like, this is the fucking mouse. I don't need to give the mouse any more of my money because the mouse keeps finding ways to get my money. But then the concern is, this is one of the first times that they've truly done anything that's not white cast. And it is good. And if I don't give them my $30, will I ever have the opportunity to have an all Latino or an all Black or, an all Thai or an all anything else cast?
Please don't make a live action remake of Coco anytime soon. Please don't.
Oh no, Coco's good by itself.
Right?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Still haven't watched it.
Yeah,
I know. But I made it through Onward, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. In the tears category. I mean, listen, I had some feels, but it didn't punch me the way that I thought it was. So maybe I'm finally ready for Coco.
I cried the whole movie.
See, I think Coco is going to hit you different because it is a Latino family, and it's not like magic and wizardry. They don't say these things exist to begin with at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, here's a Mexican kid and his family, and then you find out all about the afterlife. So it hits a little different.
Well, I also think that Coco is like,
and then
hey,
that fucking ending. Ugh.
Don't
you, Coco.
Stop. I still can't listen to that song. It makes me so sad. It's beautiful. So sad.
I ain't even seen it, and y'all got me about to tear up already. All right, well, yeah. Hopefully not a live action of Coco, but I'm just worried that if I don't give Disney my $30, they'll use that as an excuse or ammunition to not give us more of this. And that shouldn't be the case. But come on, would we expect anything less from Disney?
Disney's been on top of their game as far as representation because they know it's going to get them money. Not representation because it's the right thing to do. Like, hey, if we take this underserved group and we make something about them, we'll make money off of it. So if they can figure out another underserved group to come up with for the time being that they want to make another live action movie out of, we'll get it.
I mean, they could put, if your answer is, should they do more of these behind the paywall, they could put Soul out. I'd get Soul because I mean I want to know. I was really intrigued by the trailer. I cried. I'd rather not cry in a movie theater. I'd rather cry on my sofa.
Yeah.
I know Soul got delayed as well.
Yeah,
So
no. I'm just saying, like, if you're asking, should more things be behind the paywall? I mean, yes. I just think they should market it better. Don't tell people that it'll be free in a couple of months.
Yeah.
well, I mean, we have that. We have Soul, which is done. It's in the can. It was waiting. It should have been released earlier in August, I believe. But now I think it's set for November.
Mm-hmm.
If they were smart, start getting behind that now. I don't know what the budget on Soul is, but usually an animated film is a little bit cheaper than
Yeah, but say
something
it's a
of this
Pixar,
budget.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But Pixar films do have higher budgets for
Right.
animated films because they take years to make, and they have their own server farm at Pixar, which is amazing. And it's
So
just one of the,
November, it'll be like their Christmas rollout.
yeah, it's supposed to be November 20th. So I think Disney's big thing for November was going to be originally the Immortals, and then whatever. So now it'll be Black Widow and Soul for November.
We're
And they're
still
not
trotting
gonna
out Black Widow being.
they're not gonna put Black Widow on Disney Plus.
No, I'm not seeing it then.
I mean, I really didn't want to see it to begin with, so
Well, I did.
Whatever.
I
yeah,
did
you know when I wanted to see Black Widow in like 2016, not fucking 2020.
I'll see it
Marvel.
when they allow me to see it, but not in
No,
theaters.
I think she just means as far as the character deserving her own solo movie before
Exactly.
a lot of other people got their own solo
I mean,
movies.
Exactly.
she did.
Yeah.
She did.
Not after she, spoiler alert, fucking dies in the Avengers Endgame. So, like,
Well, we need a vehicle for her little sister to be propelled into our faces.
Yeah, I don't care about them. I'm just here for Taskmaster.
Because
I was going to say, oh, you didn't think that was going to happen? Florence Pugh is very hot right now. They are going to put her anywhere they can. They're going to put her in a Marvel movie. She's coming.
Oh yeah. Is she hot right now for her and her weird ass old man boyfriend?
Yes, she is hot for her and her weird ass boyfriend.
All right. Well, I think we have said everything that we need to say about Mulan.
And other stuff.
And other stuff too. Mainly though, really do go watch it. It is a good movie. Is it going to be the greatest movie you've ever seen? No. But it's going to be better than a lot of other shit that you've ever seen. And it's going to be supporting something that we don't get often, which is something done by Disney or any American studio that has a completely representative cast. So you should check it out. If you want to be a good citizen, you can drop that 30 now. But as Munir has just said for the last 5 minutes, you can also wait till December and see it for free. But, support good art. Like, at the end of the day, just support it. Because if you don't support it, we don't get it. And y'all spend $30 on a lot of other shit that's not a movie. So it's not going to kill you to do it.
Talking about your cocaine habits.
Wait, our listeners are doing bumps of cocaine? Is that
be.
who we attract?
They might be.
I mean, listen, I know that you can get some weed for about that. So just saying, maybe.
Oh, she was talking about your weed habit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe you just pass on the weed for this week. Anyway, check it out. That said, Manira, do you have a grab bag today? Are we doing a grab bag?
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. No.
Oh, all right. Well, y'all didn't write to us about shit, so no grab bag today. But as always, we do want to thank you for listening. And if you're getting to see the video when YouTube aren't being assholes and blocking us from posting them, watching. If you like the episode, obviously we would like for you to rate us, drop a review, subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, which our handle on both is @concentratedpod. Next week's episode should be a fun one for those of you that like going down nostalgia road. Actually, next week is Optimus Prime Day, and so we will literally be doing our hot takes on the robot who is Optimus Prime. So if you've got some thoughts about Optimus Prime, some things you'd like to share, definitely reach out to us and let us know your thoughts. You can also send us questions, topics that you'd like us to cover, or any other feedback to concentratedpodcast@gmail.com. or you can drop us a message on our Facebook page, which is just Concentrated Podcast. And lastly, if you are so inclined, you can leave us a voicemail at 301 531 4393. Again, that's 301 531 4393. That is all for this week. Bye, folks.
Peace.